Hello, this is Dave Hurwitz, Executive Editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk to you about the best recordings of Vaughan Williams Symphony Number 4, the mean one, the nasty one, the one that sounds like a Godzilla movie as the beast stomps around Tokyo, crushing everything in its path. It's a wonderful piece. It really is. You know, it's a signal, I think, of Vaughan Williams' greatness as a composer that very few conductors encompass the wide variety of the symphonies. They do all of the works equally well. You know, that's true of Beethoven, it's true of Mahler, maybe Bruckner, Sibelius. You know, the great symphonists, they're bigger than any one interpreter by and large, right? And so, you know, you have to sort of pick and choose among the various versions and see who excels. Now, the Fourth Symphony represents some particular challenges. Vaughan Williams himself conducted it, and he did it very well. It's a smoking, exciting performance, and it's really a lot more exciting than anything any of his colleagues did later. There's a certain soft edge, I think, to the way a lot of British conductors play his music that really doesn't do justice to the violence and intensity and passion that characterizes the Fourth and the Sixth Symphonies. And so the best performances, in my view, as we're about to see, are not by British conductors. But let's take these things in turn and see where we wind up. First, we're going to do the British, or British style, as I'll tell you in a moment, conductors. And of course, it wouldn't be Vaughan Williams unless we had Adrian Boult, who was, throughout his life, dedicated to the composer, who knew the composer, who was a wonderful conductor of Vaughan Williams in general, and who recorded the Fourth Symphony twice, once for Decca with the LPO, a slightly more exciting performance than his remake here for EMI, now Warner. And, you know, I have to say, it's just not vicious enough. It's a solid, musical, intelligent performance, pretty well played. Boult could be a little slovenly here and there, but you know, he loved the music, and he always gave his best, or attempted to give his best, in presenting the music. And I just wish that he had a little bit more fire in his belly, and then we would have been in business, right? But speaking of lack of fire in his belly, Previn. I've always thought that one of the reasons that Previn found the UK such a congenial place is that he was basically a mellow kind of guy. You know, I mean, I actually interviewed him a couple of times, you know, and he had a lot of opinions and was very passionate about them, and he could be a fabulously exciting conductor. I mean, witness his Walton First Symphony, for example, you know, with the London Symphony. But as he aged, he became sort of fuzzier. I don't know how else to describe it, vaguer, sort of like a distracted English professor. You know, the way you think about them, he was sort of, oh yes, that's very true. I don't know. It was very funny. And his conducting from the very beginning had a certain softness in its core, which it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it depends on what you're conducting, obviously, right? But for the Vaughan Williams Fourth, it wasn't one of his better ones. Let's put it that way. Neither was the Sixth. But some of these performances in this cycle are fabulous. I mean, the first, his London Symphony, is incomparable. The Pastoral Symphony is gorgeous. The Fifth was gorgeous. The Seventh, the Antarctica, was wonderful. You know, it's just, again, a question of the music being bigger than any one interpreter. And good for Vaughan Williams, right? Next, we get Andrew Davis. Now, when this came out, this is a very, very good Fourth. It really is. His Vaughan Williams cycle is, for the most part, is pretty good. And the Fourth and the Sixth were, considering, you know, the source, Andrew Davis, who also has not exactly been, you know, heating up people's blood with thrillingness. A lot of I'll be talking about this box separately, by the way, and so we'll deal with it then. But the Fourth is actually one of the better performances in the cycle, and it's one of the better performances by a British conductor of the Fourth. It's very exciting and very, very good. Also very good was Vernon Handley. That's this big memorial cube, box thing. But Handley was an exciting conductor. I mean, just generally, he was an exciting conductor. And of course, he specialized in British music. And his Vaughan Williams cycle is very exciting. The problem with his Vaughan Williams cycle was that sonically, it was somehow a little diffuse and lacking in impact. And, you really had to turn the volume up. And I don't know what exactly was going on with the engineering, but it was never one of the best. His Fourth is a tense, exciting, and, very, very nicely driven performance. But for some reason, it doesn't have quite the impact that I think it should. And that's a shame, because given superb sonics, we might have really had a keeper there, one of the great ones. But now we're going to talk about non-British conductors, all of whom do better. I kid you not, with one really notable exception. The big exception is Bernard Haitink, whose Vaughan Williams cycle is possibly the most boring thing the man ever did. Forget it, don't think about it, run away from it, avoid it, and just pretend it doesn't exist. And we'll all be much happier. But now, first we're going to start early. Metropolis. Dmitri Metropolis with the New York Philharmonic. This was recorded in '53 in very, very good mono sound. It's available on a single Sony with the Stokowski 6th and much less great sound. But it's a stunner. It is the most white-hot, exciting, smoking performance you'll ever hear in your life. And it's wonderful. Metropolis took this on tour with the New York Philharmonic, and they went to Scotland and they played it there. They played it in a couple places, and it's wonderful to read the reaction of the British critics. They all said, to a man, that it was too exciting, too noisy, too loud. In other words, it was exactly what the piece should be. Next, and following in the tradition of his mentor, Dmitri Metropolis, is Leonard Bernstein with the New York Philharmonic. Another very, very exciting performance. It's not as fast as Metropolis, but it's just as intense. It's absolutely spectacular. Bernstein, I think, played the finale at a young person's concert. Oh, it was great. This is a tremendous performance. It really has never gotten much attention from the British press, nor has the Metropolis. And we're not surprised, are we? They're always rooting for the hometown team. But the fact of the matter is, you can do better. Bernstein is one choice. However, there's better still to come. Slatkin. This is with the Philharmonia because, when non-English conductors record English music, if they were smart, they did it in England with an English orchestra, because at least then they wouldn't be completely ignored and poo-pooed by the local press. Anyway, Slatkin's recording came out at the same time as Andrew Davis's, and it was very interesting to compare the two, because Davis was very, very good and beautifully recorded, but this one had just that much more fire and intensity, and it's an absolute smoker. However, I have a favorite, and we all have our favorites. And my favorite is the Fourth Symphony. I mean, a performance of just unbelievable, unbridled intensity, and at the same time, ferocious rhythmic control and passion, is Paavo Berglund with the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. This is coupled with, actually, is it Bournemouth or is it Royal Philharmonic? I think it's Royal Philharmonic, actually. But it's Paavo Berglund. That's the point. It's Paavo Berglund, who was a great conductor in so many different pieces. And this particular version is coupled with Constantine Silvestri's Wasps and Tallis Fantasia. I mean, it's probably the greatest Tallis Fantasia ever. Pace Barbaroli. So, and this there's a twofer that has this stuff on it too. There are various ways to get this. But the bottom line is that they were just firing on all cylinders, is the expression, right? I mean, it's just a great, driving, ferocious performance. And the fugato at the end of the finale and that last climax will just blow you through the back wall of your listening room. It's a tremendously exciting performance. Really, I think, for my money, the best of them all. And It's not an English conductor. Sorry, fellas. If you want the best Vaughan Williams 4, you have to leave the sceptered isle and travel either to Finland or to the US or someplace else. That's where you'll get Vaughan Williams 4th with the temperature boiling the way the music is supposed to. So thank you all, and keep on listening.